You ever look in the mirror and feel like you're staring at a ghost with your face on it? Yeah, I know you have, 'cause I've seen that look before. The one where your eyes ain't glowing no more. Your skin feels tight with tension, and your thoughts, they're just echoes. Echoes of things you should have said, should have done, should have been. That's what weakness breeds. Regret. And that should piss you off. But you're too scared to get angry. You swallow it like it's poison, thinking silence makes you strong. Thinking being nice gets you anywhere in a world built on war. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. Silence without action is surrender. And you've been surrendering your damn self every damn day. You should be angry. You should be fuming. You should be breaking walls inside your mind because of how much they took from you. Not money. Worse. They took your confidence, your belief, your fire. They made you question your own worth when on the worst part, you let them. You stood there, quiet, while they stepped on your kindness like a welcome mat. But hey, you smiled, right? You told yourself, maybe they'll see I'm good if I stay good. What a joke. No one respects a doormat, kid. You think the world sees your heart? Nah. They see your silence as weakness. They see your patience as a green light to keep using you. And the longer you stay calm, the more they test how far they can push you, till you break. But I'm here to tell you, that break, it ain't a curse. It's your awakening. You don't grow in comfort. You don't evolve when everything's sweet. No real change. It comes when the pain gets too loud to ignore. It comes when you stop lying to yourself. You don't want to be soft no more. You don't want to beg for respect. You want it to be felt the second you walk in. You want them to think twice before playing with you again. Good. That's growth. That's anger done right. That's power, baby. See, people fear loud noise, but they fear quiet rage more. That's why the ones who speak less move in silence, get things done. They shake the room without opening their mouth. But you can't fake that kind of energy. It's built. Built in the fire of betrayal, disrespect, and loneliness. You've felt all three, haven't you? Let me tell you a secret most won't admit. You need the pain. You need the betrayal. You need to know what it feels like when people laugh behind your back and eat from your plate. 'Cause it sharpens you. It strips the softness from your bones. Makes you smarter. Makes you colder. Makes you realize not everyone who smiles is your friend. And not everyone who hurts you is your enemy. Some people just teach you what to become by showing you what not to be. Don't cry over them. Don't beg them to understand. Don't try to fix people who broke you. Let them go. But don't forget what they did. Remember it. Use it. Let every scar be a receipt, a reminder that you owe no one an explanation for the beast you're becoming. You're not weak. You're not soft. You're just asleep. You've been holding back, being polite, being gentle. But that ain't who you are now, is it? Not after what they did. Not after what life taught you. So wake up. Stand up. And let that anger burn. Not to destroy, but to build. Build yourself into someone they can't ignore. Someone they can't play with. Someone who don't flinch when the world throws fire. Let it burn and walk through it like it's nothing. 'Cause when they look at you next time, they need to see that fire in your eyes and think, damn, we shouldn't have messed with him. You want to know how I became me? I stopped pretending. I embraced the chaos. I let the world break me and I laughed in its face. Not because I didn't feel pain, but because I owned it. I made it mine, turned it into fuel. And that's what you need to do. Take your sadness, your disappointments, your failures, and build something terrifying. Build a version of yourself that even your demons respect. One step at a time. One scar at a time. One silent promise to never be played again. So yeah, you should be angry. Angry enough to rise. Angry enough to stop explaining yourself to people who never cared. Angry enough to become everything they never saw in you. That's what growth is made from. Not hugs, not peace, not pretty little quotes. Growth, real, savage, raw growth. It's born in the ashes of who you used to be. So light that match and burn. Burn bright enough to blind the ones who once dimmed you. You ever wonder why they walk away so easy? Like you were just a phase. Like everything you gave meant nothing. Like your time, your love, your loyalty was disposable. That's where the real rage should come from. Not because they left, but because they made you feel like you were never worth staying for. But here's the truth. They'll never tell you. They knew your worth. They saw it. That's why they took so much from you. Because they could. Because you made it easy. You were too available, too forgiving, too damn understanding. You gave them the best version of yourself, and they used it to build a stronger version of themselves. They drained your energy, then left you in pieces. And that's where most people break, right there. But not you. Nah, you don't break. You bend. You shatter silently, but you rebuild. Every scar becomes a blueprint. Every tear, it waters the seed of the monster they created. And that monster ain't evil. It's aware, cold, focused. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It doesn't need. You need to let go of the version of yourself that tolerated being overlooked. That self that waited for people to realize your value. That version that kept asking, why me? That self was designed to serve others. This new one, it serves you. And that transformation starts the moment you say, I've had enough. Enough of the guilt. Enough of the self-doubt. Enough of shrinking so others feel comfortable. You weren't born to be small. You weren't made to be liked. You were built to disrupt, to rise, to lead. But first, you gotta kill the people pleaser in you. The one who forgives too fast. The one who answers texts at 2 a.m. The one who listens when nobody listens back. That person has to die for the stronger version to live. That's the cost. That's the sacrifice. And most people won't pay it. That's why they stay average. That's why they keep falling for the same lies and ending up in the same hell, because they're afraid to become the villain in someone else's story. But listen to me, loud and clear. The villain is the hero in his own tale. He stops apologizing. He sets fire to fake connections. He doesn't fold when he's misunderstood. He doesn't soften when things get uncomfortable. He builds, and if something threatens that build, he burns it. You've been taught all wrong, that anger is dangerous, that silence is golden, that letting go is healing. Maybe, but only after you confront the war inside. See, you can't heal what you won't admit. And most of you walk around pretending you're okay, when deep down, you're exhausted. Tired of being the one who stays calm. Tired of being the one who gives chances. Tired of playing strong while they pick you apart, like vultures circling meat. You ain't a corpse. You ain't someone's second option. You're the storm they thought they could dance in, until the lightning came. And now it's time they see it. Not with your words, with your silence, with your results, with that cold, sharp look in your eyes that says, try me again, I dare you. Because once you channel that pain into growth, there's no going back. That's the part they won't understand. They'll keep testing the old version of you, not realizing he's long gone, buried under the weight of your last breakdown, replaced by a force they'll never be able to manipulate again. So be angry, be cold, but be focused. Anger without direction is just noise, but anger sharpened by purpose, that's a weapon. And you've got plenty to fight for. Not revenge, not validation, something deeper, something they'll never touch. Your evolution. You don't need to prove them wrong. Just prove yourself right. That's what hurts them more. Seeing you rise without calling their name. Watching you shine without asking for credit. Becoming untouchable without becoming loud. That's where the real revenge lives. In the silence of success. In the stillness of strength. In the rage you no longer speak, because now you embody it. You know what's funny? They always say, you've changed, like it's an insult. Like you were supposed to stay soft forever. Like growing teeth makes you a villain. But they never ask what made you change, do they? They never ask about the nights you stayed up wondering what you did wrong, or the days you bit your tongue until it bled just to keep the peace. They don't ask about the time you gave someone your last breath, and they still acted like you weren't enough. No, they skip all that, because it's easier to call you cold than admit they turned you that way. So yeah, you changed. You got tired. Tired of over-explaining. Tired of being the only one who cared. Tired of carrying people who had legs, but chose to crawl through your generosity. And that tiredness, it didn't make you weak. It woke you the hell up. It turned your anger into clarity. It made you realize that loving people doesn't mean letting them kill you slowly. That helping people doesn't mean draining your soul just to fill theirs. It taught you boundaries, discipline, silence. And silence, that's the deadliest scream, because it means you're done negotiating your worth. And that's the beauty of anger. When used right, it transforms you. Not into someone evil, but someone unshakable. You stop reacting, stop begging, stop explaining. You just move quietly, strategically, brutally. And the same people who once fed off your energy, they start to starve. They'll feel that absence like frostbite. Slow, painful, irreversible. But don't rush back to warm them. Let them freeze. Let them sit with the version of you they destroyed. Growth isn't about healing others. It's about healing yourself without needing closure, without needing an apology. It's about realizing that peace isn't a place they give you. It's a place you build inside, brick by bloody brick. And sometimes that foundation is rage, not the kind that lashes out and destroys, but the kind that builds muscle, mental, emotional, spiritual, the kind that whispers, "Never again," every time someone tries to take advantage. That's the kind of anger that saves lives, your life. You should be angry that you let them talk to you like that you watered relationships that only grew weeds, that you gave your time to people who wouldn't even give you eye contact now, that you stayed loyal to someone who was never even honest. You should be angry, not to hurt them, but to remember, because the second you forget, you fall again into the same traps, the same lies, the same pain. So carry that anger, not like a bomb, but like a blade, sharp, controlled, ready. Let it remind you to never shrink again, to never explain your soul to someone who only listens to respond, to never let loneliness convince you that toxicity is love. You've done your time in the shadows. Now it's time to walk with your spine straight and your heart locked. Because the world doesn't hand power to the kind, the soft, the nice. It hands power to the one who earns it, through scars, through fire, through relentless pressure. And you, my friend, you've been under pressure too long to not come out diamond. So the next time they try to belittle you, smile. Not because it's okay, but because you see through them now. The manipulation, the guilt trips, the fake concern, it's all noise, background static. You're on a different frequency now. One where respect is the minimum, not a reward. One where you don't chase love. You attract it by being untouchable, undeniable, unbothered. That's what real growth looks like. When your silence scares them more than your words ever did. When your absence screams louder than your presence ever could. When they realize the version of you they ignored was the best thing they never valued. And now you're too far gone to be reached, not out of hatred, but out of clarity. You finally know your worth. And that kind of knowledge, that's the most dangerous thing in the world. And you know what really burns them? It's not that you moved on. It's how you moved on. Silent, focused, without the need to clap back, without posting some cryptic quote or begging for their attention. You just disappeared, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and started building something real. You started crafting a version of yourself that doesn't need validation, that doesn't crave approval, that doesn't crumble under rejection. And they felt that. Trust me, they always feel it. Because people don't notice your presence. They notice your absence. They notice when the one who used to care doesn't check in anymore. When the one who gave endlessly suddenly gives nothing. That silence hits different when they're used to feeding on your attention. It's not revenge, it's reality. They're finally experiencing the emptiness they created without your light to cover it up. And that right there, that's growth forged from anger. Not explosive rage, but a cold, deliberate flame. One that doesn't burn out. One that keeps you warm while you build empires in secret. You should have snapped a long time ago, but you didn't. You kept giving chances. You kept hoping. You kept seeing the good in people who were only showing you poison. That's not weakness. That's innocence. But innocence dies when it gets betrayed enough times. And now you know better. You know that some people don't change. They just get better at hiding who they really are. You know that apologies without action are manipulation in disguise. You know that love without consistency is just confusion wrapped in pretty words. And with that knowledge comes a different kind of anger. Not loud, not violent, but surgical, strategic. You start cutting people off mid-sentence. You stop showing up to battles that cost your peace. You delete numbers without looking back. You raise your standards so high that only the real ones can reach. That's when life shifts. That's when the tables turn. Because now they need access to a version of you that doesn't exist anymore. And it drives them insane. They'll start poking, testing, trying to provoke the old you. The one that used to care too much. The one that used to reply instantly. The one that used to explain every emotion like a damn therapist. But you're not that person anymore. You're not here to teach people how to treat you. You're not here to fix broken souls at the cost of your own. You're not here to prove your worth to people too blind to see it. You're here to evolve. That means cutting ties without warning. That means walking away mid-conversation. That means choosing peace over closure. Because here's the truth. Closure is a scam. It's the lie we tell ourselves to stay connected to people who were never good for us. You don't need closure. You need clarity. And anger? That's what gives you clarity. When you're angry enough, you stop romanticizing red flags. You stop painting potential. You stop waiting for people to change and start changing your damn self. And when you do that, when you finally put yourself first, the world starts to notice. Not just the people who left, but the ones who stayed quiet while you were suffering. The ones who watched you fall and said nothing. The ones who loved the old, broken version of you because it made them feel strong. They'll all start creeping back, acting like they care. But don't be fooled. They're not there because they miss you. They miss the access. They miss the version of you that asked, "Are you okay?" even when you weren't. The version that tolerated disrespect just to keep the peace. But that version, dead and buried, replaced by someone they can't read. Someone who doesn't explain, doesn't beg, doesn't bend. Someone who isn't afraid to be misunderstood. Someone who thrives in solitude. And that's what real anger gives you. Not chaos, but control. So yeah, stay angry. Stay aware. Stay silent. Use every betrayal as fuel. Use every failure as foundation. Use every scar as proof that you survived what was meant to break you. Don't try to be understood. Don't try to be liked. Be respected. Be feared. Be untouchable. That's not bitterness. That's evolution. That's what happens when you stop apologizing for being intense, for being different, for being real. That's what happens when you realize you're not here to be liked. You're here to win, quietly, ruthlessly, unapologetically. And here's the part they'll never admit. They liked you better when you were broken. When you were soft, easy, open. When your love came without limits, and your time didn't cost a thing. They liked you better when you answered their messages like a lifeline. When you dropped everything for their needs, even if it meant bleeding yourself dry. That version of you, it was convenient, predictable, easy to control. But this version, the one who sees through the lies, the one who doesn't react, doesn't beg, doesn't show up when they whistle, this version terrifies them. Because now you've become something they can't use, can't manipulate, can't toy with anymore. You've become free. And nothing scares the ones who fed off your pain more than the moment they realize they no longer matter. You don't hate them. You just outgrew them. You outgrew their drama. You outgrew their low standards. You outgrew every excuse they used to justify treating you like an option. And now, you walk different, talk different, think different. And that silence, that cold, focused energy, it's screaming one thing: try me again, and see who you're really dealing with. You see, when anger finally finds its home in you, when it's no longer about screaming but building, that's when you become dangerous. Not in a violent way, but in a way that's unshakable. You stop being emotional over things that don't deserve your tears. You stop trying to make people see your heart. You stop showing up for people who wouldn't even clap if you made it. That's what they don't tell you about growth. It's lonely. It's brutal. It means leaving behind everyone who loved your wounds but not your healing. It means losing the ones who stayed when you were weak but vanished when you started getting strong. It means realizing that most of the love you thought was real was just convenience in disguise. They didn't love you. They loved your availability, your forgiveness, your silence, your ability to always bounce back, no matter how bad they hurt you. But the moment you set boundaries, the moment you said, no more, they called you difficult, cold, selfish, and maybe you are. But that's what survival looks like now. Being selfish with your energy, being difficult to manipulate, being cold to people who only came close to keep you small. So let them talk. Let them whisper your name in rooms you've already walked out of. Let them say you switched up, turned cold, disappeared. Let them. Because every time they speak your name, they're reminding each other that they lost someone they couldn't break. Someone they thought would stay forever, until he didn't. Someone who carried them through storms and then vanished like thunder when the clouds cleared. That's not bitterness. That's justice. That's balance restoring itself. And that, my friend, is what real anger builds. Not a mess, not chaos, but a legacy. A presence that's felt even when you're not around. A silence that echoes louder than words ever could. That's power. Not in the fists, not in the voice, but in the discipline. In the ability to walk away when your heart still wants to stay. In the strength to choose peace, even when war is easier. Because here's what I've learned. The loudest man in the room is usually the weakest. The real beasts, they move in shadows. They don't need applause. They don't need recognition. They just do the work in silence, while the world talks, while the snakes slither, while the cowards gossip. You're becoming that beast now, slowly, quietly. You're turning the pain into hunger, the betrayal into discipline, the anger into armor, and no one sees it coming. That's the beauty of it. One day they'll look up and wonder how you became untouchable, how you stopped caring, how you moved from rock bottom to the throne, and the truth will burn them more than any revenge ever could. You did it without them. You rose without their help. You became everything they said you couldn't. And you did it all with a cold, steady flame burning inside your chest. The flame of anger, of clarity, of becoming. Let me tell you something brutal. Something no one else will dare say to your face. You being soft didn't earn you more love. It earned you pain. You being loyal didn't protect you. It made you a target. You being the bigger person didn't make you respected. It made you convenient. They didn't stay because you were kind. They stayed because they could take, drain, and use without resistance. And when you started waking up, when you stopped answering the phone, when you said no for the first time, suddenly you're the villain. That's the game. That's how they play it. They flip the script so quick, you start questioning your own survival. But here's what I need you to get. The moment they start calling you selfish, rude, or cold, that's the moment you know you're finally doing something right. Because the world isn't used to a version of you that prioritizes yourself. They liked the broken you, the soft-spoken one, the one who flinched at the idea of disappointing anyone. But now you walk with your head up. Now your eyes don't beg, they warn. Now your silence isn't confusion, it's control. That's why I say, stay angry, stay calculated. Let the fire you buried inside for too long finally rise, not to destroy, but to rebuild. Use it to cut off the people who drain you. Use it to grind in the dark while they laugh. Because soon, they'll be choking on that laugh when you come back, unstoppable. Don't let them fool you with guilt. Don't let the ones who hurt you pretend they're the victims. That's a trick as old as time. You bled. You broke. You carried burdens that weren't even yours. And when you got tired, when you started standing up for yourself, they played the sympathy card. Don't fall for that noise. You owe nobody anything except the future you're building in. And that future, it doesn't have space for users, leeches, or liabilities. It's for warriors. For the ones who earned their place through scars and silence. You see, most people avoid anger because they don't know how to handle it. But you need to master it. Anger isn't bad. It's the compass that points to what matters. You're not mad for no reason. You're mad because you cared, because you loved hard, because you gave real, and they spit on it. That kind of betrayal, it doesn't just sting, it restructures you. It changes the way you breathe, the way you trust, the way you walk into a room. You become sharper, more alert, less forgiving. And yeah, that version of you, it scares people. Because now they know they can't lie to you the same way. They can't guilt trip you, manipulate you, twist your empathy into a leash. You cut it, clean. And if they don't like it, good. Let them leave. Let them talk. Let them drown in their own silence while you build a life that never required their permission. You know why I'm pushing this message so hard? Because you're not weak. You were trained to be weak, conditioned. From day one, they told you to smile when you're sad, to turn the other cheek when you're disrespected, to be kind to people who wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. And now, look at you. full of pain, full of potential, full of rage, but trying to act like everything's fine. Well, guess what? It's not fine. It never was. And it's okay to admit that. It's okay to feel it. You don't need to pretend anymore. You don't need to shrink to make people comfortable. You don't need to water yourself down for people who couldn't handle your full flavor. You're not here to be liked. You're here to become the version of you that doesn't break when life starts throwing bricks. You're here to build from those bricks a wall, a kingdom, a legacy. So let them misjudge you. Let them call you cold, harsh, too much. Let them stare while you rise from the ruins they left you in. Because one day they'll realize the fire they started in you wasn't a mistake. It was a warning, a spark. And now you burn with purpose. You walk like thunder. You think like a chess player. You move like a storm no one can predict. And when you speak, if you even bother, your words will land like punches, not because you're angry, but because you know better now. And that, my friend, is what true growth is made from. Not smiles, not apologies, not fake peace, but the quiet rage of a soul that finally said, enough. Let me break it down for you. There's a version of you they were never supposed to see. A version forged in silence, trained by pain, baptized in the fire they threw your way. That version? It's not poetic. It's not soft. It doesn't cry for closure or beg for understanding. It watches, learns, evolves. That version is being built right now, in your quiet days, in your sleepless nights. Every time you bite your tongue, every time you walk away instead of snapping, every time you look at your phone and choose not to reply. That's the beast sharpening its claws, not out of spite, but out of understanding, out of control, out of the sick, raw realization that no one is coming to save you, and the only person you can count on is you. That's where the power is, not in revenge, not in hate, but in indifference. In the shift from, why did they do this to me, to, I'm not letting that happen ever again. You need to understand something about this world. It feeds off soft hearts and silent souls. It rewards the ones who fake it best, who wear masks and say the right things at the right time. But you were never built for that theater. You feel too deep, care too much. And when people like you enter this cold world, it either breaks you or it forges you into something unrecognizable. And right now, you're at the crossroads. You can keep walking the path of being nice, being polite, being liked. Or you can finally say, screw this. Not out of bitterness, but out of clarity, out of brutal self-respect. You're not here to be anyone's stepping stone. You're not here to hold people up while you drown. You're not here to be the emotional crutch for people who can't even spell loyalty. You're here to build, to rise, to become so disciplined, so focused, so untouchably cold, that they can't reach you, even with both hands out. They'll call you heartless, but that's just code for you don't let me use you anymore. They'll say you changed, but what they really mean is you finally saw through my bullshit. And when they realize they can't shake you like they used to, they'll start spinning narratives. You're different now. Yeah, you are. You've seen too much. You've healed too deeply. You've sat alone with your pain long enough to learn its language. You know the sound of fake apologies, the feel of shallow promises. You know when someone's loving you out of guilt, not out of growth, and you don't buy it anymore. That's what makes you dangerous now. Not your fists, not your words, but your ability to walk away, to let go, to burn bridges without flinching. Because you've realized that peace isn't found in the presence of people. It's found in the absence of nonsense. And that rage, that hunger inside you, don't kill it. Channel it. Let it be your alarm clock, your discipline, your drive. Let it push you through the workouts when your body wants to quit. Let it fuel your grind when everyone else is asleep. Let it echo in your silence when people ask, "What happened to you?" Tell them nothing. Tell them everything. With your results, with your growth, with your new circle of wolves who speak the same silent language. Loyalty, discipline, focus, purpose. Let that anger teach you what peace never could. That life isn't fair, that people lie, that love can be selfish. But through it all, you survived. And now, it's your time. You don't need a cheer squad. You don't need pity. You don't need apologies. You need a mirror, a cold plan, and a reason. And I know you've got one. That reason is all the pain you buried for years, all the disrespect you smiled through, all the moments you wanted to scream but didn't. That's your why. That's your fuel. That's your edge. So stop asking for signs. Stop waiting for permission. You were never meant to be tamed. You were meant to rise from every no, every you're not enough, every backstab, every ghosted text. And when you do, don't send a message. Don't explain a thing. Let the silence do the talking. Let the glow up be the clap back. Let your discipline say, "I'm not mad. I'm just no longer available."